Hi YouTubers! Today I wanted to do a Pointe shoe review based on all of the Pointe shoes I've ever had, the different brands, and how I feel about each of them, my experiences, what I might recommend or not recommend. Of course, this is based on my own personal journey and my own feet. Everyone's feet are different, but I thought this would be fun. So, I'm about to show you a pretty massive pile of Pointe shoes, and this does not cover all of the Pointe shoes that I've had since I started, but I have kept every single pair because they're special to me, and I just love Pointe shoes. So, over here, as you can see, is a massive pile of Pointe shoes. So, I just tried to grab a variety of different manufacturers and different strengths of Shank and things like that. So, I will start with well, let me start with my very first pair, which I can't find at this time, but my very first pair were Capezio, and I do not remember specifically what kind of Capezio shoe they were. I just know that when I was told I could go on Pointe, I went to a little tiny local shop that only sold Capezio dancewear. And this made it challenging because my feet don't exactly fit in Capezio Pointe shoes. I have a bit of a wider foot. It's also pretty thick. I have a reasonably high instep, and the metatarsal area is very wide, and then it gets more narrow down towards my heel, and all of my toes are nearly the same length, and so like my second toe is not longer than my first or anything like that. They're all about the same length, and my toes are extremely short. So kind of posed a challenge for Capezio shoes, at least when I started. Capezio has, just like any other brand, has branched out a bit more, and I'm sure has more options now for feet like mine, but at the time, the boxes were generally too tapered and narrow for my toes, and there were other problems. So that was my very first experience. So as you can imagine, that was tough, and some people ask me like how I could have wanted to stay with it when my first pair of shoes were just so difficult to work in, but I wanted it really bad, and once we found out that that was not the shoe for me, we moved on. So, let's see if I can find them. Okay, so my second pair of shoes were, those are in rough shape. They probably lasted me for like a year. These are Bloch Serenades. This was my first experience with Bloch. They are, I don't know what shank they are because it doesn't, I think they're either a soft or a medium shank. And I was pretty happy with these shoes for someone that had pretty much just started. It's hard to tell when you first start out. You don't really know what you're looking for, and you don't always know when you're running into problems, or when it's your foot versus the shoe that's causing issues. So, I think, I was okay with these, but after this, I actually veered away from Bloch for quite some time. So, my teacher at the time must have thought that Bloch was not for me. So then I moved on to Grishko, and I stuck with Grishko for a very long time, a lot of years. I wore Grishko through probably my maybe junior and senior year of high school, through college, after college. I really, for the most part, felt like Grishko was my shoe for a while. I started in a medium shank. These are Grishko Elites. I started in a medium shank, and I stayed in a medium shank for a long time. But as a common problem for dancers, I kept breaking through them really fast, especially the stronger I got and the more technique I developed and the longer my rehearsals got. And so I finally decided, with the help of really the store owner of the dance store I had started going to, because I was thinking about changing to a new shoe, and she said, well, we have these in a hard shank, and I had never danced in any hard shank before, and I do have strong feet and arches, but it did make me a bit nervous. But I went out, and after my last pair of the mediums died, see if I can find them. I did buy a hard shank. And these are my hard shank. They were spray painted for some performance I don't even remember. Unfortunately, with the hard shank, it was like an entirely different world. It didn't even feel like the same shoe to me. I don't know if anyone else has been through this, but I could not, for the life of me, break this shoe in at the right point, or the right section. No matter what I did, whether it was with my feet or my hands or other things, like nothing would break these in. And I could not get over my box for the life of me. And my point work felt so much harder. And it was pretty miserable. I thought I was doing something wrong. And after using the hard shank, once I disposed of these shoes, I think I bought one more pair of mediums just because I didn't know what to do at that point. And after that, I finished with Grishko. My next pair of Pointe shoes was much later. I had taken some time off. I was really sick. And I decided I wanted to do pointe work again. So for a little while, I pulled out old dead shoes, some of them that I just showed you, and did bar work in dead shoes, just to get myself kind of going again. And then I really needed to buy a new pair of shoes. I went to visit a friend in Connecticut, and we were walking along, and we passed a dance shop, and it said that they were discontinuing all of their Sansha products. So they were having like a huge blowout sale where everything was just super cheap. So I had never used Sancha anything, but I decided to go in, and we looked around, and there was a big bin full of pointe shoes, all by Sancha, and like I said, I had never tried on Sancha. But they were $10, all of the shoes in the box. So I was like, if I can find a pair that will work for me, this would be terrific. So, it's not something I recommend doing for a beginner. Obviously, you need your teachers advising. And I honestly, looking back, it probably wasn't smart to do this after taking so much time off from Pointe work when I wasn't really very strong. And I needed, my feet changed just like anyone else's, and I really needed like an actual fitting. But these were a good start back into Pointe work, just real easy stuff, and it felt good. But let me tell you, so these are Sancha Ovations, and they're 3/4 shank. I had never worn 3/4 shank before, and I had to rip these things apart to break them in to properly fit my foot and allow me to do Pointe work. I had to, I used rubbing alcohol. I used a boiling tea kettle. I used an X-Acto knife. I used a metal door. And I used my hands a lot. And that's all along with normal breaking in exercises with your feet, releve and all that. These actually, I didn't ever perform with these or, do anything with them, but these were how I rediscovered my love for Pointe work, and just an extension of my ballet, and that I really wanted to get back into it, and that I needed to go out and buy Pointe shoes that were a proper fit for myself. So, but they did the job for a little while, and yeah, that's Sancha. From there, I went to Bloch Jetstreams, and they fit like a glove. I put these on and I was just, wow. Like, I hadn't been in Bloch since high school when I was in my Serenades, and these were just such a sleek fit, and I really liked them. I danced while in them. They broke in easily, and they didn't feel real clunky. Overall, I think that the vamp is a really good length for me, and all around just a good shoe. However, they only come in one shank. Now, rumor has it that they have started making Jetstreams in more than one shank. If that's true, I might check that out. I don't know yet. But I've been through quite a few of these because I break through them really fast, and that's a shame. But I kept buying them because they had been the best shoe yet, and I really liked dancing in them, so it's kind of like a catch-22, and that was that. I finally had decided to take a break. I still had a good pair of Jetstreams, but I decided, I saw some students actually wearing, where are they? Wearing Bloch European Balance, and they seemed like a shoe that might be very similar to the Jetstream, the way they're designed. So I went and got fitted for these, and I was right. They did feel similar to the Jetstreams. The platform of the European Balance is probably the most stable platform for my feet that I have found since I started. the only downside I would say is that these, in comparison to the Jetstreams, felt very bulky. They felt heavier. They felt like when I did, when I would bore or something like that, they felt louder and just harder to kind of pick up my feet. So that's what I didn't really care for. So I bought 2 pairs of these. I went through 2 pairs, and I wore them for a performance, as you can see. And then I went back and bought another pair of Jetstreams because I couldn't, I had to go back to them. Well, and so then I was still on a mission, and after another pair of Jetstreams, I went out on a huge limb, and for a couple years now, I've been, researching what people think are the best pointe shoes for different feet and different experiences and so on and so forth. And there's this big controversy over Gaynor Mindens. You either love them or you hate them. And because of that, I hadn't tried them just because there were as many good reviews as there were bad reviews. And they're called like the cheater shoes, and just different issues that people had with the shoes. But I got to the point where I was going through shoes so fast, and I loved my Jetstreams, so I was breaking through them, and I needed to find another shoe. So I went to a different dance store that carried a lot of Gaynor Minden. They were certified, know what they're doing, and I got fitted for a pair of Gaynor Minden. And these ones are, they came in the yellow bag. Let's see. They're the Extra Flex Sleek, for those of you that are Gaynor Minden buffs. In this store, they felt really good. I was like, these feel so close fitted to my feet. I can rise so easily, and I haven't even broken them in. I'll take them. And then I started taking class, and for about 2.5 to 3 months, I worked in them in class, and it was like I was just starting pointe work. I could barely balance. I would let go of the bar, and I was embarrassed. I felt ridiculous. And it was horrible. And I kept trying and trying and trying, hoping that if I got used to them, or even though there isn't really a breaking in process like conventional shoes, that if I, broke them in, whatever that means for Gaynor Minden, that they would feel better. And it was nothing. So I stripped them, I de-shanked them, which was a pain because they're plastic instead of cardboard and plaster and everything else that they're usually made out of. And I made them into demi-pointe shoes because I hadn't used them really to their full lifespan, and they're supposed to last a long time too, and they were so expensive, and it was such an endeavor, so I had to do something with them. So they're now demi-pointe shoes. But I mean, if you look at like trying to find a shoe that isn't in awful, terrible condition here for you to look at. If you look at like the Gaynor Minden platform, and this is the Bloch Jetstream platform, and you look at like the vamp and box and how Like the height of it is different, and the circumference and all of that. Like they're shaped really very differently, and it just was not right for my foot at all. And I wish I knew that at the store, but sometimes you just don't know until you try. So after that, I went back to my Jetstreams, as you probably could have predicted, and I am going to try out, I think, Russians next. I've tried on a pair of Russians a couple years ago, and I went with the Jetstreams instead. It was primarily, if I can remember, because of cost, so I think I'm going to do that. And then I will update you guys. Maybe I'll do a breaking in video or something once I get another pair. So that is my journey and my review of Pointe shoes that I have. If you have a foot similar to mine and you are struggling to find Pointe shoes, watch my video. You feel free to ask questions or share concerns or experiences, good and bad, on what might work for you, or what hasn't worked for you, and I would love to hear from viewers. So thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, and keep watching for more videos coming your way. Thanks.